Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, more Rissa. That's me. So today's video, I just wanted to list my top 10 reasons that living in Virginia is different from living in Florida. So I've already recorded this video once and I didn't really like it, so here I am re-recording it. So this time I actually made a list and made sure that I hit all of the points that I kind of wanted to talk about. So here we go. So number one, and the most obvious, is I have no family, no friends, no acquaintances, nothing like that here in Virginia. All of my friends, all of my family, everyone I love except Jesse, they all live in Florida. So that's like one of the most toughest differences about living in Virginia, is that I just don't have anyone. I don't have, anyone that I can talk to, or I can run down the street to go to their house, or I can drive over to their house. I can hang out with them for the day, like literally nothing like that. So that's been one of the, I think, hardest things that I've had to deal with, but it's completely fine. That's just, it is what it is, and there's nothing I can really do about it, so I live with it, and it's fine. Oh, number two is, obviously the scenery. Florida is nothing but flat land, and water basically, whether it's lakes or beaches or any pond, body of water. It's just greenery, everything. That's Florida. Obviously, that's where I grew up. That's what I'm used to. Virginia has mountains, hills, just clay, everything. In Florida, we have clay on our softball and baseball fields. Okay, we don't just have it everywhere. But here in Virginia, my entire front yard is just clay and grass. So that's another big difference. It's a lot different cleaning up clay than it is to clean up mud, or I don't know. It's just, it sounds weird, but it's a lot different. Clay stains things, like my floors, so bad. Mud at home, you mop it up and you're good. There's no stains. Clay is no, we're gonna stick around here forever. So that's another huge difference. Oh, and with that, driving in these hills and mountains is so much different than driving on flat land. That's something that I had to get used to. I used to be terrified to drive on the steep mountains and all of that stuff, especially when there's snow and everything. Driving is out of the picture. It's not an option. The first time it snowed, it was 18 inches of snow. For people who live in that and they're oh, that's nothing, we get however many feet and blah blah blah. Cool, good for you, do your thing, stay living there, whatever. I'm from Florida. I'm a Florida girl. We don't get snow in Florida, especially not 18 inches. It was an experience for me, but I made it. Here I am, living, thriving, so we're good. Number three is the seasons. So in Virginia, you get 4 seasons. You get spring, summer, fall, and winter. And you get to experience all of those. This was my first spring where I've ever, everything was dead, and then I saw everything turn green and just blossom and everything like that. In Florida, you don't get that. And in the fall, everything, all the leaves start to change, the leaves start to fall off the trees, and then in the winter, it's really, really cold, everything's dead, all the trees and all the grass, everything is just brown, but it's you don't see that in Florida. We don't get those seasons. But another thing with having winter is the snow. And let me tell y'all, being a Florida girl, not used to snow, it's a no-go for me. Number 4, which I've talked about in one of my vlogs, is the garbage. So I know there are so many different parts of Virginia, but I'm just talking from experience. I'm talking about where I live. And where I live in Virginia, we have to take our own trash to like a dumpster site. We don't have dump trucks that come and drive up and down every road or street and pick up the trash. I'm sure there are places in Virginia that have that because I've seen trucks, so I know that some places have that luxury, but we do not. In Florida, I never even knew that there was a thing that existed of just like a yard of dumpsters where you'd have to take your trash. So that's a difference. Number 5, like I said, just speaking from experience, having to use a laundry mat. In Florida, we have a house, we have our own washer and dryer, and in Virginia, we just don't have that luxury. We are renting an apartment that doesn't have washer and dryer hookups. So I have to go to the laundromat about weekly to wash clothes, and I cannot wait to have my own washer and dryer at home. Number 6, whenever I was living in Florida, before I came to Virginia, I was able to go to several different running parks, walking trails, whatever you want to call it. You know, they have like lakes and all types of stuff with like running trails around them. There are just so many different options to get outside and go run, exercise, whatever. Here in Virginia, first of all, in the fall and in the winter, it's like bone-chilling cold, and there's just like, I mean, there is a way if you're like, you really want to, I guess, but there's no way that I'm getting out. There's no way I'm getting out there to run in that cold weather. And then secondly, in the summer and the spring, whenever, you know, there's nice weather, it's just so hard to go outside and run up and down these hills, because let me tell you, I used to do it when I first got here. I used to run up and down these hills. I fell one time and that was it. Never again will I run like these sidewalks and streets and all that. So that's why I go to that little park. But honestly, that is the only park around me that I have found that has like a trail that is flat. I mean, there's, you know, some small hills, but nothing like steep. So yeah, that's a major difference. Like, I don't have the option to just go, you know, to this park or that park or this trail or whatever. And that really freaking sucks. But what are you gonna do? Oh, number 7. So the cost of living in Virginia is so much cheaper. I think every time I go down to Florida, I forget how much more expensive it is down there. Just like gas, groceries, bills, like everything is literally just so much cheaper in Virginia. And I know there's a reason for that, but I don't know what the reason is. Moving on, number 8. So, like I said, speaking from experience, we live in an apartment and there is people that live underneath us. In Florida, I don't live in an apartment, I live in a house. And so here in Virginia, you can hear all of your neighbors. I can hear them from the time they get up in the morning to the time they leave to work, and then whenever they get home from work, it just starts all over again. These people that live below us are so loud. I swear that whenever they get home from work, they just come running in the house like 3-year-old children. I don't know if they have like a drum set or they throw chairs at the wall. I don't know what they do down there, but they are so loud. I'm like, you're on the bottom level. How, like, I know walking through the house, you cannot be that loud. There is no one beneath you. How are you this loud? I don't know. But that's another huge difference that I cannot wait to be back in Florida, back in a regular house where I don't have to have neighbors below me or above me, and and listening to everyone else's business. Also, just a little side note, they light this cake pan. They put a cake pan on an electric stove and put Fabuloso in it, and it smells, and I can smell it up here in my apartment. It smells so bad. Don't know why they do it, but they do, and it friggin' stinks so bad. How do I know that it's Fabuloso? Quick story time. One morning, they left to work and they left the stove on, and I could smell fumes, like I could smell like it smelled like a fire. And so I went down there. I smelled the smell coming stronger from like their apartment. So I was knocking on the door, banging on the front, the back, everything. They didn't answer. I knew they had left to work, but I didn't know maybe like if one of them stayed home or who knows. Anyways, it was smelling so bad. I had to call the fire trucks to come. They broke open the front door and they found it on the stove. They found that he had left that pan on there. So that afternoon he came up here and he was like, "Thank you so much. Like, we just got new furniture and everything. That would have been so bad if the house burnt down." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm on top of you. That would have really been bad." But yeah, he told me that every morning before work they light Fabuloso on the stove. He didn't say why, but they do, and that I guess that morning they had forgot to turn the stove off. Moving on. Number 9. So again, I live in an apartment, and this apartment is so small. It is 2 bedrooms. Both bedrooms are extra small. I don't know, just living in Florida, I have my own room, like, you know, my own house is, not my own house, it's my dad's house. I was living with my dad, but it's just like our own house. It's our own space, our own yard, everything is, I don't know, just like you just have so much more room. Living in an apartment, you just don't have that much room. So we really don't buy anything for this apartment. Knowing that everything is just temporary, it's hard to buy like permanent type things. So even things as simple as like a dresser drawer or I don't know, picture frames, like little things like that that make like a house a home. We just don't buy those things because this isn't our permanent house. So we never know when Jesse's job is gonna tell us like, hey, it's time to move to the next job. And so for that, we don't ever buy anything permanent because we know that like any other state besides Florida is not our forever home. And finally, number 10. So in Florida, where I live, it's like definitely a bigger city. It's not one of the biggest cities. It's not like Orlando or Tampa, but it's definitely like a bigger city. Here in Virginia where I live, it is such a small town. All the businesses and everything are just kind of all like compacted together in one little area, and that's that. Like, I don't know, there's just not a lot to do here. There's really not a lot of businesses here. If you watch my vlogs, you see that like all of the bigger stores, I guess, are in Roanoke, which is a 30-minute drive from me. Even like the main road that takes you from our little town to the bigger city of Roanoke, it's like a 2-lane highway, and that's it. And it's like, I don't know, at home there's, you know, 3 lanes, 2 lanes, like, you know, there's just a lot more traffic and it's like a lot busier. And here, it's not like that at all. And I like the smaller town, but I don't know, it just gets boring. I guess if I had family here or if I grew up in a smaller town like this, it wouldn't be as bad. But it just gets kind of boring and repetitive because, like I said, there's nothing to do. So yeah, that's another really big difference, living in a small town versus in a kind of like a bigger, I would call it a bigger city. Alright guys, well that's the end of my video. Those are my 10 reasons that living in Florida versus living in Virginia are different for me personally. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comment box. Make sure to subscribe and leave a thumbs up on my video. And until my next video, I love you guys. Bye!